My typical day as a service manager is starting the day lining up work for the technicians, answering phone calls, trying to get everybody scheduled for the day on service calls when they call in, when their jobs are completed. Also, once the job is done, I look over the repair orders, make sure the parts are on there properly, have somebody look at that, make sure the time on there is proper, and get it billed out in an efficient manner as I can. On the technician side of things, I align their work. They have every technician has a computer, and on their computer they have what we call a whiteboard. And once I make a repair order for work that needs to be completed, I assign that to a technician, and they can click on that job and complete the job as notes are on it that needs to be done for that. And then when that's done, they complete it and move on to their next
For a
job.
service technician, the requirement for education is usually we hire them from a diesel technology program, often from NIAC, DMAC, Iowa Lakes, and those types of schools. So for wages and stuff like that, we do have a wage band. So when you're a first year student at a diesel program, you're making $16 an hour. Second year, you're making $17. You graduate making $18 an hour. With that, we have a tuition reimbursement program you also become eligible for. And how that works is we pay back 80.5 credit hours back for schooling, and we go off of whatever the school charges. So you can choose where you want to go, and then we figure out what your last year was for cost per credit hour, times about the credit hours up to 80.5 to get your reimbursement back. It is not taxed. It's 6 payments, and it starts after 6 months of full-time employment. Typically, it pays for your whole tuition and everything. You get an incentive program off of billed hours. So when you're a service technician, every billed hour you have, you get $2 an hour. So say a month, you had 100 hours that you billed out, you get an additional $200 check at the end of the month.
I guess for anybody looking for experience to come into this field, we would like you to go to a diesel program of some sort. John Deere does have a program at Calmar that is specifically designated for John Deere. That is an excellent program along with other tech schools. We have hired some people that have had experience off the farm, but that have done a lot of work, but would like to have people that have gone to a tech school and just have a little knowledge not only on the equipment side of it, the repair side, but also some technology.
So my normal day here at John Deere, basically making sure, first thing is a lot of times we get machine down parts, they call, organizing parts in the morning, making sure we dish parts out to customers or the mechanics out back. The other thing is pretty soon customers come through the door looking for parts. From there, we serve them with parts that they need, or we need to order, or where to locate them to keep their operation going. Other things is phone calls. We get a lot of them looking for parts. Same kind of deal when they come in. A lot of times in the afternoons, our stock order truck will show up. We put parts away. So that is pretty much what we do. Good communication skills is key. Informing customers, informing other coworkers, informing the mechanics if you're working with them. Communication goes a long ways. Other skills is just being a people's person. Making sure, you see all sorts of attitudes coming through. Of course, going through harvest, farmers are kind of stressed or something happened to, you just gotta be calm, be patient with them, just be a good people's person, communicate well with them.
I'm HR manager, just talking about what you need for education for a parts counter salesperson. With this position, it's pretty special. You actually don't need an 2 or 4 year college education. Big thing is you have knowledge in farming and you have great computer skills. Those are keys to making this position work well. However, we have hired people from 2 and 4 year degrees, particularly just general ag degrees. They are helpful because it does give you the knowledge of the equipment and just farming in general, and it does help with the position.
So a piece of advice I'd give to someone looking to come into this particular job is making sure good communication is really key. Knowing some of the agriculture background, knowing your John Deere machinery goes a long ways. other than that, it's communication is really key. Communicate with your coworkers, communicating with farmers, making sure their operation's up and going. It's very key. So if I had something to pass along, making sure you have some good communication.
So you're interested in the MS side of it on things, and on the MS, there's a lot of things that's involved in it. Communication to customers is huge. One of the main things in the spring, when we start planning, they're talking to them about setting up maps in their systems and doing a lot of calibrating with the displays and the monitors and the receivers. And same thing in the fall on the combines, they do the same thing. So that and that can tie up a lot of their time, just doing a lot of troubleshooting on the phone with them, and along with the calibrating and setting things up. When they're not as busy, they spend a lot of time updating, running new software and the receivers and displays on the off season, so that when they get to the main season, they have all that done. And then during the off season, there's other things they end up doing. They end up climbing towers, updating software. We have towers like at the elevator here, on a lot of farmers' places, up on the grain bins, grain legs, and they have to go up and climb those to make sure the receivers are working and the displays are working there as well. Twice a year at least, the MS group sits down and discuss what they're going to do for training for our employees, and they'll go through that at each individual location with the employees of anybody who's involved in that department or has something to do with the sales of that, so they know what they're talking about. And then they'll also spend a lot of time with the salesmen, going out maybe with them, talking to the customers, seeing what their needs are, making sure the salesmen get the right thing in their quotes, and so they're quoting the right piece of equipment, because the one item that could be $5,000–6,000 could be a big mistake on a quote. So they're actively involved in sales, and then it gets to the end of at the end of the sale, it's not complete until it's installed, and they'll get into a lot of install. Installing on combines, installing the wiring harnesses and GPS on planters if it needs, and then getting them off in the field with the customer, making sure it's working right that day, maybe when they go to the field. So it's a big, the AMS is a big part of our business, and it's a very important part because the farmers like technology. So that's just kind of a short version on the AMS side. So
for an AMS person, typically where we hire these individuals is Iowa Central, which is a 2-year program, Iowa State, which is a 4-year program, and South Dakota State University. It's all ag technologies major, so either or, you can do 2 or 4-year program for this position.
And on the sales side of it, there's again, here we go with the communication part. That's very huge. Another thing that is going to make you a very good salesman is knowing your equipment. There's a lot of questions that customers will ask you. It comes all the way from technology to how that piece works and what piece the equipment they need on the tractor. If they're buying a piece like a planter, there's different options to have, and on a tractor, they aren't all made the same way. You got so many different options on there that customers like. So knowing the equipment, there's several different models of tractors, there's several different models of combines, several different models of lawnmowers. So when customers come in that want to buy a lawnmower, there's, I don't know, probably close to 30 different models of lawnmowers that you need to know and try to fit their needs.
All right, for human resources, they have very many hats and different things that they do throughout the day. So first, we do all the hiring for all 11 locations, and then when we do hire somebody, we do orientation, meaning all the paperwork for benefits, new hire paperwork and everything, and kind of tell them what a day-to-day is going to be like to prepare them for their first day. Training, getting them to do the safety training and when they first start, as well as training with JDU, which is our John Deere University, and we kind of help manage that and get them making sure that that they're on the right track for their position. You can do payroll. I do oversee payroll. I do not do the processing of it on a bi-weekly basis. I just make sure all changes are in there. If we make any new hires, that they got all the information they need to process the payroll, as well as I do manage all the benefits. So if anybody has any changes with benefits and stuff like that, we make sure that all that is flowing into payroll correctly. And then once a year, there's open enrollment for benefits. So I go around and talk to all the employees about the changes going to happen and what their expectations of deductions coming out and what it'll look like, and answering any questions for their benefits that they may have. Every day is different. We deal with issues with employees and try to get those fixed. It's just every day is a different day. And we also do a lot of recruiting at the community colleges, high schools, all that kind of stuff. So it's a well-rounded position, a lot of traveling between 11 locations.